First off, I want to thank you all for tuning in today. I know that sometimes it can be hard to wake up in the morning, look at all this boring chart action, hang out with Neal and his crazy need a haircut look. But I want to say I'm very thankful that you've been with me, and that it is my deep, deep pleasure to bring on someone that knows a lot more about technical analysis than I do, to give us a little bit of a lesson and let us know which tickers she is watching right now. Spencer, can you please bring onto the show Silvia Bellrock? That was fast. Hey, Silvia.
Hi, nice to see you, Neal. And hi, everyone. And thank you so much for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to speak to you today. How are you doing?
Wonderful. And the pleasure is all ours. We're so happy to have you on the show.
Nice, nice. I saw you're doing some research already, some analyzing of some stocks. So how is it going? How is trading treating you?
Trading is right now, I'm pretty good. What I would say is that over the past 2 days, my holdings that have been in the red have been my long-term investments have been hit. That's my ETFs in general, and then my big names like Nvidia was a little bit red.
Oh yeah.
but my short-term holdings, Silvia, like one FPRX and a few of the picks that we've done on this show, we're staying strong. We were at we had some picks that were like just at breakout points that were staying green during that period of red. So that's been very positive.
Very good, very good. Sounds good.
How about you, Silvia? How is the week now that it's Friday and we can look back at the week? How has the week treated you?
Yeah, it's Friday. Finally, it's Friday. Well, it's been a little bit of a wild week, so to say. You know, we had a little bit of a pullback on the market, so we saw a little bit of volatility. It looks like the market is trying to pull back, and if I look at the indices, they're not ready to continue to go up yet. So I'm just patiently waiting right now to see which direction are they going to pick. Are we going to see more green, or are we going to see a deeper pullback? And here, as I look at the ES mini S&P futures chart, you see this tight consolidation here. So that's exactly what I'm looking at and what I'm trying to figure out what is going to happen. And we see here this small support area. And if we continue holding this area as for now, we see those wicks here and those candles, nice reversal candles. So if we continue to hold this area, we might continue higher. But I personally think after such a huge run, it's been like a 10% only in 2 weeks. I do expect a little bit of reversal there and pullback. That's why I'm a little bit more concerned on the long side. And I reduced already last Friday my long exposure. So I'm trying to stay on the lines, wait for the best setups to come to me, of course, and go from there. So that is my plan for now. And of course, overall, I'm looking the big picture first. What are those indices doing, or ETFs like SPY, Qs, and from there I go into that, into those individual stocks, of course, and into some sectors.
All right. So you're talking about some larger market indicators like SPY and the Qs, which I imagine you're talking about the various NASDAQ ETFs. Are there any particular stocks, individual stocks that you're watching right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I watch a lot of stocks. So first of all, maybe you don't know my trading style. I'm normally swing trading. So my main strategy is swing trading. I'm holding the stocks for a couple of days, weeks, sometimes months, or even I go into investing with holding them for years. And I'm combining I'm not looking on the technical analysis, but I'm also combining some fundamental aspects and looking for some growth stocks with some strong KPIs like earnings per share growth and stuff like that. And so I have a basket of stocks here, of course. First of all, let me introduce you BL. Have you heard of this stock?
I have not heard of BL.
No. Okay, it has definitely some good growth potential here. And you know, one of my favorite setups, Neal, is when I see very strong momentum, strong, nice uptrend. We see here very nice momentum to the upside, small pullbacks, and of course continuation of that. And the pullbacks are pretty small, always into those support areas, new highs. And I like those kind of stocks which look clean on the chart. So I don't want to see mess on the chart. I don't want to see something going up and down and not knowing where it wants to go. So I prefer stuff like that. And especially if it has some growth potential, like I mentioned, it is very nice if I see a pullback like this. And we see here, of course, this was based on the earnings, but I'm looking mainly for support and resistance areas. And I like when a stock goes up like that, I want to see some kind of a pullback into that support area, which is the previous low in this case, and also a breakout point here. And then I'm trying to pick one or two support areas and build my position from there. So this one is trying to set up here right at the support. That's why I'm watching it very, very closely. Mm-hmm. And in this case, possible stop might be just below. And at the highest, which is 154, this should be the first target. So that's the one I'm looking at.
So, okay, so we're using price history here to establish support. But I also see some lines on the chart. Would you mind letting folks know which lines you are using?
Sure. So I can basically, this is basically a line which you can draw with any drawing tool. I'm basically connecting here the previous lows and looking for support areas. This is my main tool, so to say, which I'm using. I really like to keep it simple. And I use also those moving averages and RSI here. RSI I use mainly just to see where is the stock currently. I don't want to buy at highs. If I see that we have an overextended RSI or RSI above 70, I know, okay, I don't want to buy there. I might start to scale out of my positions and close some. And those moving averages just there for me, just an indication. If I see that something reclaims those moving averages like here, I might enter a position. So those are the three main things I'm using. But basically, support and resistance are for me the most important. And I'm using just a drawing here just to connect the previous lows here and see where was this price exactly at.
I love that you're using price history as the main source of truth, because that's something. It's so easy for new traders to get into their brokerage or their charting tool and see all of the studies and indicators and stuff that's available, and it's so crazy and overwhelming. But something that you got to remember, and that we like to remind folks of, it's all about what has happened with the price. Just start with the price.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Silvia, you mentioned a couple tickers before you came on the show. I'm personally curious about one because I'm holding the bag. I'm holding the bag on one. I really want to know what you think about Apple.
Apple, very good.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could just give me some chart therapy right now.
Sure. Where did you enter?
So I bought calls. I bought calls at what I perceived as a breakout. So if you go back, you can see the little bit of a cup here. Yeah, that forming. I bought at the calls at the point where your pencil is right now, and then I was hoping
139.
Yes, and I was hoping for a little bit of a continuation of the past trend, bolstered by this sort of cup and handle pattern.
Yes.
But what I got was not that.
Yeah, so exactly. So I'm going to tell you, of course, my personal opinion. I personally don't trade breakouts, and this is one of the reasons, because most of the breakouts, I think it's even 80 or 90% of the breakouts, of course, depends on the stock, but most of the breakouts fail. And the point is, of course, what is your risk reward? So what was your, let's say, mental stop? Where would you have been out of this stock in this case if you enter here?
So this is an embarrassing trade. Guys, I bought the calls on Apple. I put in it's like $1,000 worth of calls.
Yes.
My mental stop was non-existent.
Okay, I got it.
My mindset was, this is going to make me rich. Nothing else can possibly happen.
So what expiration do you have? What is the expiration?
March something. So I think it's mid-March.
Oh, okay. So here is my thought on in general. First of all, on the options, of course, and then on the chart. So options, I bought yesterday Apple, by the way. So when I bought it here, and of course I plan, if it continues to go lower into this next support areas, I'm going to add. I bought also calls, but I have at the money calls. I think it was 125. Calls, and expiration date is 2022 March. So I have a lot of time left for those.
In the money 2022?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in the money. So there's a reason behind that, and it is because those in the money or at the money close, especially in the money close, actually, they have some intrinsic value, and I just feel better when I know I'm not buying something completely out of the money. And I have realized over the years that this in the money calls are working much better. And of course, very important is, in my opinion, the how much expiration do you give them? And for me, it is at least 3 months, because other than, if I don't have 3 months, I don't have enough room for errors, which means if the stock goes against me, I don't have time to wait it out. I'm running out of time, because as you know, the options decrease. And if you have out of the money calls and you have very tight expiration, basically most of them will expire worthless. Of course, you can have here and there some huge move to the upside, but most of them will expire worthless. So I'm trying to find out some in the money calls with enough time, at least 3 months. So if the stock tries to consolidate or go sideways for a while or pulls back, I am not going to get stressed out or lose on that.
So
that's with the
okay, so I did the opposite of that. And we're getting questions in chat. What does in the money mean with a call option? That means that the strike price, basically you're betting that the stock will get to this price, is below the current price of the stock, the underlying asset. So it's better odds, and usually those are more expensive to buy.
Yes.
But if you're me, you bought out of the money calls that were approaching your aggressive breakout target with a short-term expiration, and the value of your contract promptly went to zero.
Yes. So I see this is my personal opinion. Of course, I'm not saying it's not going to work, but if you're buying here, the problem is if you're buying here. So let's say you bought here 139, around 139 here, and your stop it should be the previous low. So you're asking, the previous low in this case is 126. So you're asking 126 to 139. You're asking this stock to go, in order to make this risk worth it, at least you have to calculate risk rewards 1 to 2, where if you're risking, let's say, on a trade $100, you want to make at least 200 in order to work over the long run. So this basically means that if you enter here at this price, you're asking the stock to go more than $20 in this short period of time, especially in this case with your out of the money calls for March, which means the probability that for a stock like Apple this is going to happen is very low, So basically you will have much more probability of success if you're waiting for some kind of a pullback, because as soon as we reach some point of a pullback support areas like we see here, the probability that we're going to see a quick bounce or even a huge bounce or new highs out of this support area is much higher than if you buy here and asking the stock to continue to go up without even pulling back in the next month. You know what I mean?
I do.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It makes a lot more sense than what I did. So that's great. So it sounds like do you use options a lot in your trading?
Yes, I do. Not always, but sometimes I just prefer options, especially if I'm not sure some of those stocks, you never know if they have some kind of a gap down or something happens. So I prefer options. Of course, you have much better leverage with options, and you can grow very fast a small account with options, or you can go in the opposite, as we know. But options are great, in my opinion, for growing a small account. Yeah, I use them too. Yeah.
Good, but definitely know what you're doing before you just
Yeah.
hop in there. Okay, so this is Apple. What other stocks are you interested in right now, Silvia?
I am interested here in some. This is one of my favorite patterns, by the way. QRVO. Let me show you. QRVO. Exactly. It looks like it's going to work out, this one. So QRVO is another one. Maybe you are recognizing here my my pattern. I'm looking for very clean uptrending stocks which have some nice fundamentals, some growth potential, of course, and trying to combine that with technical analysis and sometimes buy the options of those. So in this case, we see here very nice uptrend. Consolidating here a little bit, broke out, made nice new high, came back down, very small, tiny pullback here, which is a sign of a strength that the bulls are in control. And then it continued to go higher, pulled back again, and now we see here this earnings, and they had earnings and they gapped down. Now, what I'm seeing with a lot of stocks, not all, but a lot of stocks are just gapping down based on earnings, even though the earnings are actually pretty good. They made some good money. They actually bet, most of the cases, the stocks which I'm looking at, they bet the expectations, so they did better. But you just never know how the investors are reacting to that, and sometimes they have to get rid of positions. So you see that kind of a pullback or gap down, like in this case. And this is for me a great opportunity to start looking for to start looking to buy, because you never have, not always you have some kind of a pullback like that. Mm-hmm. And so I saw this here, and this is, as we can see here, right into the support. This was the previous low here. It came back here, and I started, I'm not sure this or this candle, I started somewhere, or this one, somewhere around this area. I actually have a position here. And of course, I'm looking now to see if this is going to continue higher and reach the previous highs here. So that is the one I'm looking at. And still very nice setup, because we had a tiny consolidation, and now it looks like it's breaking out above those EMAs here, reclaiming. So still a good setup.
Where are you setting your stop loss for that setup?
So in this case, because I entered around this area, 167, my stop loss, I'm using mental stop loss, by the way, my stop loss will be in this case just below the support. So if I see the stock breaking down, closing below this support area, this would mean for me, okay, get out of here, this didn't work. I have to look for something else. So in this case, it will be if it closes below 163 area.
Okay, so I just Googled mental stop loss. I'm wondering if you could tell folks what you mean by that.
Sure. So mental stop loss basically means I'm not putting like physical stop loss in my account. So let's say what some people are doing, they're just buying 100 shares, buy order here, and they have a sell stop order, like I said, maybe around 163, like I said. And then if the stock hits it, it gets executed, and they're just getting out of the stock. Now, for my personal opinion, I've been doing that in the past years a lot. And unfortunately, what happens often is that you're getting stopped out, and only $1 or $2 for, like, stopped out for nothing. I don't know if you have experienced that, but you're getting stopped out 1 or 2 days later, a week later, you realize the stock is going higher, making new highs, and you're just not part of it because you got stopped out.
Yes. I have 4 words for you. MVIS. MVIS got me. Okay, so that takes discipline, though, I imagine.
Yes, and I'm using it because I want to see, of course, the price action. I'm looking very closely what happens at the close. So my positions are opened or closed basically during the day. I don't do a lot most of the time at the end of the day, because I want to see how the candles are closing, what is the price action. And a lot of times they just go through support, but they are bulls are stepping in, and then you see a huge reversal candle or doji candle, whatever you want to call it, and then they pull just right back. So I don't want to, personally, I don't want to be the person who gets stopped out only to watch later it goes up. So I want to see how it closes and decide based on that if I'm going to close it or what I'm going to do with it.
And I'm getting a lot, Silvia. I'm not sure if you can see the chat section on YouTube or here.
I don't see.
We're getting a lot of people that are saying amen to using mental stop losses, because it sounds like a lot of folks are tired of getting stopped out.
Yes.
So,
yes, it is true.
It's not a good feeling.
This is a bad thing, guys. I'm telling you, I've been doing it for a long period of time, and you look like a fool at the end of the day. You know how often you thought you finally got it, and it's great stock. You got stopped out and continues without you. It's just, I hate that.
I know that feeling well. Multiple experiences in life. All right, Silvia, are there any other stocks that you think would be good to show that have sort of an educational value?
I think this one other which I'm looking at, this is similar situation, QCOM, very similar to QRVO, which I'm looking at. It is very nice gaps here, nice uptrend, same situation, pullback based on earnings right into support. This is not very strong yet. I'm going to give it some time, but also very nice to see same pattern over and over again. Pullback, but even though they bet expectations, now it is at support. So very nice setup as well. This is the same setup what I'm looking over and over again, but they not always work, of course, as we know.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question. Now let's step back and talk more broadly, because I got a little glimpse of your watch list, and it's a big watch list. You've got a lot of tickers in there. So I imagine that takes a lot of time for you to go in and look through each one. At the end of the day, much of this is still a manual process. Could you give me an idea of what your schedule looks like? Like, when do you start doing your research? When do you make your setups? When are you monitoring your setups? What is the average day in the life of Silvia Bellrock look like?
Yes, well, I'm doing the research or deeper research most of the time during the weekend, because I just want to take my time, don't get stressed, because during market days, during trading opening days, I'm just too busy with looking at some stocks, and I cannot really take my time to go in depth with those stocks. So I do that most of the time over the weekend, try to find some nice strong sectors, then try to find who performed the best, and from there I try to find, of course, some KPIs. What are the increasing earnings per share over the past years, quarters, how many funds are buying the stock. So I go more into this fundamental direction, and after that I have a basket, like let's say 20 or 50 stocks, depends. And then from there, I go through them and pick the best looking chart, which is at support area with best risk reward. And I have them on watch. And of course, I'm going over and over again through those stocks during the day. So pre-market, I just watch what is the index doing, what are the futures doing, how are those stocks performing, and scrolling up and down through all of them every here and there a couple of hours, because I'm a swing trader. I don't watch every tick, but I still scroll through all of them during the day. And that's how I put some alarms, so I'm not going to miss it, hopefully. And a lot of times I miss it too. And that's how it works. And I have also watch list for my members, where I send this detailed report with fundamentals and stuff like that, and exact setups. And that's my overall schedule.
Quite the schedule. That's a lot going on there. I love the starting with fundamentals over the weekend, and then narrowing it down with technicals. I can say that you probably spend 3 more times on this stuff than I do, and that's why you're so darn good at it, Silvia. So Silvia, I have one more question. We are at time. I have one more question for you. Well, can I ask 2 questions, Silvia? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. You can ask as many as you want. It's my pleasure to talk to you.
Okay. So my first question is, what is your absolute favorite stock of 2021 for any reason at all?
That is a good question. I have to think. 2021. Maybe I think it was Etsy, because I made some quick profit on this, and it is a very strong stock, as you can see too. A very strong looking chart. I think I entered it here, exited around here, and now it continues actually. So very nice looking chart, made me a nice gain very fast. So that's why I like it.
That is a good reason to like the stock. And yeah, so good answer. Usually that's like a personality test, actually, but that's a very pragmatic reason to like it. Final question, Silvia. Where can folks find more from you so they can keep learning?
Sure, guys, you can definitely visit me at silviabellrock.com is my website, and I have a free Discord chat. If you want to join in, feel free to visit my website and register for the free chat. I'm available there. Also on Twitter, I'm active at Silvia Bellrock, and I will be happy to connect with you, of course.
Wonderful. Silvia, you've been a fantastic guest, and I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you too, Neal. So I hope your trades will go good. How long are you trading, by the way?
Well, I've been trading since perhaps 2006, since I was about 16 years old. Okay. But I've only really gotten very, very active in the past like 3 or 4 years. Increasingly so. This is the most active I've ever been.
Nice. Very good. Very good.
Well, thank you again, Silvia. And folks, make sure to check Silvia out at Silvia Bellrock. And Spencer, make sure that you drop. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Silvia. Have a good day.